of football in Autzen Stadium. Game day processes, coaches up in the box, playing red zone ball, 4-minute ball, 2-minute ball, move the chains, last play of the game, 15 seconds on the clock and having a couple shots from the 15-yard line. We put them in difficult situations for both sides of the ball, tested some guys at different positions, see who can do what, and I feel like we had some progress and shed some light on possibly who's trying to push ahead, And that being said, the competition is pretty thick. There is no relenting by the team at all. Everybody's pushing and grinding, knowing that this final stretch right here before game prep is really important.
You mentioned yesterday a couple positions that are still up for grabs. Did today lend any more clarity to some of those spots? I
think we'll find some when we watch tape. I do. I think it's maybe the ones that we thought about already. I don't think anything magical happened out there today. I do think that we are learning that being a relentless competitor requires the word relentless to mean something. You can't start this thing fast, take a little dip in the middle, and then pick it up at the end. It's got to stay the course the whole way through. We have improved in terms of the penalty situation, but it still doesn't. It's not where it needs to be. We have officials at every single practice. We're asking them to be extremely strict on everything that they see to help us get better, not just to penalize our team, but to help us get better. And we see, I want to mention the quarterbacks again. We know Justin has really done a really great job since he's been here, but both those other guys, Braxton and Tyler, they keep coming on strong and proving that they can make plays and run the offense.
Yesterday when we were down there, some potential starters looked like they were in various states of availability. You can make big days. TJ Burdell, Adam Stack, and Diamador. What are those guys' availabilities and their outlook for the season opener?
In terms of
how healthy they might be?
Oh, they'll be full go. Let me go one by one. First one you mentioned was Pickett.
Yeah.
Just upper extremity, minor. Should be good to go within a day, maybe 2 days. Diamador was just cramped up a little bit, so we wanted to hold him. But he was nothing out of this world. And Adam, we wore out his leg pretty good early in camp, and so we're making sure that he's recovered and ready to go. So we've been fortunate. You can't keep knocking on that wood wherever you might find it. And we've gone live tackling a significant amount of time and had some pretty extensive scrimmages. So it's a testament to the strength conditioning program that we carried out in the course of the off season. And at the same time, it's a testament to the players of learning how to stay up and practice fast. When you're on the ground, you're going to have injuries. We've done a good job staying up.
And CJ Burdell, sorry, I was another one.
CJ should be good to go as well. He has, I know he's been limited for the past couple weeks. He tweaked for, nothing too major, but you want to be careful anytime you tweak a muscle. He did. We're not making that a secret, but he's been just about full go. We're just being a little bit overcautious in the right way.
Now that Panay and Dallas are in the mix on the offensive line, it's even bigger than it was already. Are you seeing the tempo you want with the offense with the addition of more of the big offensive line?
Well, I think all those guys. I mean, Capra and Brady Aiello and George Moore have really done a good job. So all those guys, as well as Panay and Dallas, they're all fighting for playing time now, fighting to be starters and fighting for playing time. And we tell them there's a line we got to draw, and that line, signifies who above it can help us win a championship, and who below it is not quite ready yet. So the whole goal is to get them all above that line. They push for it. I mean, they're in there an incredible amount of extra time to try to make sure they gain an edge in any way they can, and we help them do so. So to me, the best thing we have done for our roster is bring in good players to increase the level of competition. It's always going to fix everything. So I know people talk about recruiting and everything else, but one of the best parts about recruiting is that, kind of turns it up on everybody a little bit, right? And it should be that way. It should be that way. Like today, I think it's important to note, Coach Pilati was here today. It's great to have, but it intensifies that much more for us, for me as coaches, right? We set a really high standard here. We want to live up to the expectation and uphold the legacy. So again, anytime you could add those aspects to your football team, it's going to make you better.
Well, you and Marcus said you still want to play with a higher tempo on offense.
Oh,
with bigger
yes.
bodies, and you're seeing
Oh,
both
absolutely.
Things. You're seeing both.
Yeah, no, those big boys. A lot of them came in at 368 plus. One of them was in Moon Pounds, 368. He was about 390.
Yeah.
And the 390 is down to 360, and the 360s are down to 341-ish, 42-ish. We got to still get down to about 330. That'd be, what we call fighting weight, right? You want to, prepare for a heavyweight fight, but they can move, and they've played a significant amount of their careers in high school at that weight and move very well. So every body type is different. Shane Lemieux is 316, 318. Throckmorton's, between 312 and 321, and then, you've got some of the oversized guys in it. Nike's still trying to fit those guys, so we'll find a way to get them in shape.
How's Kano Dillon doing as game week approaches?
He's come on strong today now. Had a couple really nice grabs, grabbed himself a touchdown as well. Big-bodied guy with strong hands that can run. I don't think, because he weighs 270 pounds, I think people think that he's not a runner, a guy that can stretch the field. This guy can run, and we're pleased with the progress we saw with him today. And he's in that's a position that we feel really strong about, because Jacob Breland, Ryan Bay, Cam McCormick, Spencer, all those guys have done really well. Because of what we've seen in camp, I think it's worthy to note that these guys are going to be a big factor in our offense. They're good at the line of scrimmage, they're good off the ball, and they're good outside, not only as blockers but as receivers. So they've earned the right to be on the field. So us using misplaced personnel and having multiple formations out of 2 and 3 tight end sets is something that we're looking at extensively.
You mentioned last week that you guys are getting pretty far along in establishing that 2-deep going into that weekend scrimmage. How much will good individual performances in this final stretch from players move that needle from maybe going from a 3 to a 2 or a 2 to a 1?
I would say we put a lot of emphasis on that, because the right kind of pressure is on, right? It's time to put your resume on film, and if it's close, there's got to be a tipping point. All we have to go by is what we see in practice every single day. So certainly they know that, and we also tell them that we're a little bit of a different operation. When a guy, let's say he doesn't quite succeed initially at a certain position, we don't throw guys aside. I know that some programs might do that or whatnot. We're about finding a way to keep developing those guys and keep them active and engaged, because they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it over time, all of a sudden. Does that make sense? That's what's gonna happen. That's football. That's the nature of the beast. So because of that, and because of our strong belief this is a developmental game, we just keep that competition alive and keep the development process going.
Are there any guys that are, in your eyes, finishing strong, or in that process of finishing strong, where they might have started a little bit slow?
There's a good number. I just don't want to tell them that, because they might not want to finish strong, think that they already have. So the competition has been thick. And I also reminded them, hey man, let's call it what it is. This is like Chamber of Commerce weather right here now. The conditions haven't been challenging, so the challenge has to come from within, and it has to be us intensifying the tempo of practice, the way we run on and off the field from drill to drill. We have to create our own conditioning, right? We have to create our own heat and humidity, because right now it doesn't exist. The it's almost too nice to practice. In some places they cancel practice because it's too bad, it's too hot. Here you should cancel it because it's too nice. You know what I mean? And wait till it gets a little bit hotter, or turn up the heat inside the mode. But we can control that, and we don't have to worry about controlling that. We have to worry about how we practice and the way we push ourselves to put ourselves in position to be successful.
Maybe not specific players, can we maybe get a position group that some of those players are a part of? Guys that are finishing strong?
Gosh, I'd say the D-line, the O-line, D-line, the O-line, the inside linebackers, the outside linebackers, the safety, the corners, the quarterbacks, tight ends, the running backs. But we got a team that's focused on finishing strong, and they know the standards are high. And what we said in spring holds up. They refuse to tolerate anyone or anything that doesn't uphold the standard that we have set. So we got to hold to those words, and like our speaker told us the other night, we've got to honor the promise that we made to ourselves at our lowest point last season, right? Not forget about that once that mood is passed. Just because we're in camp right now doesn't mean you forget about what you told yourself, what you promised yourself. Keep that alive, and a lot of work to do, and not much talking to do, but a lot of work to do.
Coaches are never satisfied. You always want more, but you like where your team is right now?
I really like the progress of our team, especially up here, especially from a cultural standpoint. I think culture all day is gonna beat out strategy. It's gonna knock over scheme and whatever comes with it. I think the culture has really taken a tremendous step in terms of accountability, responsibility, dependability, durability, understanding that those abilities are just as important as your ability to run fast and jump high and strike people and knock them backwards. And with that has come the ownership of the playbook in many instances, and certainly and others maybe not quite to where we want them, but rapidly gaining ground to where we want them to be.
When camp opened up, you talked about depth concerns at D-line and some spots on offensive line. You feel like now that camp's almost over, you'd solve those concerns? You feel like better about those groups going into?
We do. We really do. I mentioned a couple days ago, Drayton Carlberg and the way Gary Baker have come on in terms of just big bodies that can control the line of scrimmage. The advancement of Popo as well. Those three guys are big-bodied guys that a year ago got some playing time and were just playing okay. Now they're guys that are really making an impact because they're playing with power. They're playing with relentless effort. They understand the scheme better, so they're making plays. They're helping us win. So, and they're all fighting for playing time. They're all fighting for playing time. So it's helped them, it's helped us, and it's helped the offensive line get better as well. So I feel better about that. The DBs as well. Feel better about the wide receivers. Some of those young guys have come on, and the older guys have really stepped up. And they log a lot of miles now, man. Those guys run like there's no tomorrow. So, but they understand that, heck, they may play another 20 years and not have the quarterback situation that we have. So when you have that, you really do everything possible to make it work at the highest level.
I know you say you want to keep the tempo, but when you think of like Stanford football, people associate power run game and stout defense. Under your leadership, what do you want Oregon football to be known for or associated with?
Well, it's something that we morphed to at the last place I was at. We maintained the principles of playing power football at the line of scrimmage while becoming a tempo offense. So I don't know. I don't think a lot of people watched this on the West Coast when I was over at the other place, but we really did. I mean, the power and counter and inside and outside zone, your pin and pull schemes, your too tight stuff, your open set stuff, all that stuff, it's power football. You're just doing it with tempo. And we felt like we successfully combined it. We did combine a lot of those principles last year, and they really worked out, especially in the second half of the season. So we've morphed to that, and I think a lot of people are. We're not gonna be a huddle, break the huddle. It's like when I play prehistoric stuff. I know. That's, I try to teach my son all the time what a huddle is. No one wants to believe it that we actually called plays together and looked at each other eye to eye. But the tempo is really important to us for a lot of reasons. And one of them is that it still allows us to play with power, and we feel it gives us a significant advantage with our condition.
In past years, conversations about redshirting would probably be going on about now. Probably not the case. Is that safe to say? And how will that dialogue change throughout the season with the new rule?
It'll change as players develop. That's what it'll change. That's how it will change, I should say. I think it's a tremendous blessing, man. I mean, you got to picture yourself. Let's say you went far away from home, right? And you're ready to play, man. You're ready. You're the guy, but you get there, and you're not quite to the level of what it takes to be a starter at the Power 5 level. Well, it doesn't mean that game one, if you're not ready, it doesn't mean that you're cut off, and now you spend the next 16 weeks on the taxi squad, right? You spend the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever week it takes on the developmental squad to earn your opportunity to play without compromising your redshirt should you need it. Heck, a guy might play game 2 and be the starter the rest of the time. So I think it's great stuff. It's going to help everybody manage their roster better. It's going to help players, I think, mentally be incentivized throughout the course of the season. It's going to help teams when there's an injury late in the year and a player that maybe was going to redshirt has to play. It's not going to compromise his extra year. I mean, the pluses are all over the place.
Are you having any conversations now with some of the freshmen about that type of stuff?
No need to. Our only conversation right now about getting better. That's it. That stuff, in terms of the actual redshirt stuff, that'll play itself out. And we're very candid. We're very upfront in the way we coach. We're very real. There's no head fakes to our operation. And sometimes it's not what you want to hear, but it's at least you can respect it because it's real. And we work with guys at it, so everyone has a pretty good idea of where they're at, and they also know that if they want to change their circumstances, that's what we're here for, to help them get there.
A lot of your guys yesterday were gushing praise about Panay.
Yeah.
He hasn't been on campus a whole lot, and he plays one of the toughest positions on the whole field. What's it say about how his skill level and the trust he's earned so quickly?
Well, he's a special talent. He's very explosive and very powerful. And we all know the ability that he has, at his stature and whatnot. I think the part that is really why his teammates have taken him in is because what he's made of. He's made of the right stuff. He was raised by a couple awesome parents and brothers and a family that's as tight as you could ever imagine. And he really is a relentless competitor. He enjoys the physicality of the game. He's all about knocking people backwards, and he's very smart. He's picked up a lot of the offense and a good chunk of the playbook with the help of the older guys, and he's he's in the mix to be a big time contributor for us.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks.